pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Well, the time is 9:02. We do have a quorum, so we will call this meeting to order. Are there any citizens' comments? Item number 1, consider and take action on minutes from previously held meeting of Commissioners Court on October the 10th, 2023. Are there any additions, deletions, or comments to the minutes?
Hearing none, Judge, I move we approve the regular session of Commissioners Court, October 10th, 2023, as presented.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley and second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the minutes of October 10th, 2023 as presented. All those in favor of the motion? Passes unanimously. Item number 2, consider and take action on proposed contract for attorneys related to indigent defense. Court, we've had quite a few discussions about this lately, and we also have with us today our 392nd District Judge, Scott McKee, to visit with the court on how we are looking at providing those constitutionally required, come on, Judge, defense. So, Judge?
Well, first of all, I apologize for being here. I know every time I show up, people walk in and they say, gosh, he's here again. But yes, I am. Basically, every county in the state's required to have an indigent defense plan. And every county in the state is required every odd numbered year to submit a plan by November the 1st. And I don't think we've done this since 2012. I don't think we have, and that is probably a function of our last indigent defense coordinators that we had. It just wasn't getting done. Thankfully, we haven't lost any funding, indigent defense funding that I know of for the grant money. I don't think we have for it. So I started looking into it, and I've drafted the new plan, which includes what we did with the indigent defense coordinators, what y'all did. Thank you very much for the vote. And the vote of confidence for the coordinators. I have my coordinator, Kevin, here with me. So basically, as you know, all the coordinators now handle the indigent defense, along with Angie, who handles the jail. And so all that's incorporated into the new plan. And the plan's basically the same that we've always had, just with some changes in it. And so I'll have that plan submitted by November 1st. It's a real archaic website that you have to upload it to. And so it might take me a couple days, but rest assured our indigent defense plan will be submitted by November the 1st. But in looking at that plan, at the same time that we're looking at that plan, we've had an issue having enough defense attorneys to handle all of our indigent felony cases. We were already running short. Last year, if you'll recall, we increased the pay for them to try to attract more people to do especially first-degree felonies. And the DA's here, and she could tell you there are a lot of them, and they keep coming. A lot of them are sex cases. And when I say sex cases, people doing bad things to children. And so we get a lot of them, and we don't have enough attorneys to handle them. And we're really in a crisis right now. Couple that with the fact that the legislature, in their infinite wisdom, as I always like to say, gave the prosecutors a bunch of money, and they deserve it. They do. They deserve it. I wish I had that SB 22 money when I was the DA. But they got a bunch of money, as you know, and they recruited 3 of our defense attorneys that all handled first-degree felony cases. That put us in a real bind, and we're still in a bind. And so I did some talking with some other attorneys around. We lost another defense attorney to Smith County to do a contract. And so I did some talking around with some fellow judges of mine that are in other counties that have these contract defense attorneys. And basically what that is you have an attorney that enters into a contract with the county for a period of 2 years or 1 year, however you want to do it. And then that attorney handles a certain number of cases in that court. You pay them a flat fee. They're not an employee. You're not paying fringes. You're not having to deal with insurance. You're not having to deal with HR stuff. They basically enter a contract for a flat fee, and they handle so many felony cases in your court. It works well in Van Zandt County, Gregg County, Smith County, a lot of other counties. I just mentioned those because I got their plans and I talked to those folks to see how they did it and kind of drafted our contract and our plan just like they did. So running the numbers, and I can get into the weeds with the numbers if you want, but for example, I handle me the judge, I handle the 173rd District Court felony cases and I handle the 392nd courts. So when cases come out of grand jury, they go to the clerk's office. 40% of felony cases go to the 173rd, 40% of felony cases go to the 392nd, and 20% go to the 3rd. Years ago, Judge Moore and I entered into a local agreement where I handle all of his felony cases. He handles all my family and civil cases. And it really works out because we don't have to share attorneys anymore. In other words, we're not having court at the same time. It makes it much more efficient. We've been doing that, I don't know, about 5 years now, Kevin. So basically, as a judge, I handle 80% of all felony cases in the county. So I ran the numbers with the help of Kevin. We ran a couple reports, and we figured out we think that we could handle the cases that land in both the 173rd and the 392nd with 4 contract attorneys. That's a little over 100 defendants per attorney. It may sound like a lot, but Van Zandt County limits theirs at 200. And so we think we can handle it with that. Now, will they handle every case in my court? No, because not all of those folks are court appointed, but they'll handle all the indigent cases. From time to time, you may have to appoint off of what we call the wheel if all 4 attorneys may have a conflict, or say you have 5 co-defendants, one of them would have to be represented by someone else. So with the numbers, that's what we came up with. It's in the new plan. The plan doesn't say we have to do it. All the plan says is that we have the option, if we elect to do so, to do it. The reason I'm here is because, as you know, I can't contract for the county. I, along with the other judges, we could set the indigent defense rates, we can manage the wheel, but one thing we can't do is enter into a contract. And so looking at the numbers, Judge McKinney and I have had many meetings about this. We think we can make it work with 4 attorneys. That still leaves the 3rd District Court, who would still be appointing off what we call our wheel. And when I say wheel, it's just a list of defense attorneys that have agreed to take indigent defense cases. If Judge Calhoun in the 3rd wanted to do it, I think he could probably do it with 2 attorneys because he gets 20% of the cases. So the county could use 6 contract attorneys to handle most of these felony cases, just most, if not all, because again, you're still going to have some that are pointed out that might be conflicted. And so that's what I'm coming here for today. This is not something that a county just came up with. This is actually governed by the administrative code and the code of criminal procedure. They're very specific about what has to be in the contract, how long the contract can be. You've got to have a certain number of cases that are, or a certain cap on cases that attorneys can do. So it's legislatively pretty strict, if you will, or statutorily strict. And so all of the plan and the contract are based off of the administrative code and the code of criminal procedure, so it would be legal. I think Clint's looked at it. He had a couple issues with some of the language, and we can work through that. But we've done a lot of our homework before we came here. And so I think, and Judge McKinney, and correct me if I'm wrong, were we going to ask for at least the approval to do up to 6 or an amount?
What we had discussed was that if we prove this contract in form, so much as we do many of the others, it will be constrained by the budgetary aspects as anything else that we do. You know, coming into this year, we have $800,000 for defense, indigent defense in the felony rank. We have the funding there available. And these contracts would be in relation to that funding. So if we start out with 4, 5, as long as we stay within that dollar amount that is constrained by the budget, we can follow any path that we want. This is approving in form today that this is the contract we'll use. And if the court would grant county judge's authorization to sign as they come on, as the judges recruit these contract attorneys. And it would be cleaner for us as far as having to wait coming to the court. But this is no different, same process we do with a fire contract or with any of the others. We're approving in form.
Oh, there it is. I was wondering what y'all were looking at. There's the contract.
Yes, sir.
And basically, if you can see, I mean, so if get ready to hear the bad part, or the part you don't want to hear, is that we're asking that you pay each one $110,000 a year. Van Zandt County pays theirs $100,000 a year. And when I talked to Judge Martin, who used to be an employee here in Henderson County, he worked for me in the DA's office before he was the DA and now a judge. He's getting ready to raise his to $110,000. Basically, he has two for his court in Van Zandt County. There's only one district court. He has two contract attorneys. He's paying them $100,000 a year, and they came back to him, and again, it's according to him, and said, look, we need a secretary or something. Help us out. Either can you pay for a secretary? And the county didn't want to get into that because now you're starting to build a public defender's office. And so they said, no, I'm just going to raise their pay. And then that way they can just hire somebody to do it. Because again, they're not working for the county. We just pay them $110,000 a year and they handle it. They pay for their paper, or like we used to say in the military, beans, bullets, and gas. They pay for all their stuff. They just show up and they handle our cases. They can practice elsewhere. They can be on another wheel elsewhere. But when they're supposed to be in my court, they're in my court handling those cases. Now, I don't know how many we're going to recruit. I sent out an email to the bar and just kind of giving them a heads up. Hey, this is what the judges are thinking about. This is all contingent on Commissioner's Court approval. Who would be interested, or do you think you may be interested? Shoot me an email. I got 1.5 emails. And the half was just, hey, how many cases would you cap us at? One said, absolutely, I want to apply. The other said, maybe. So I don't, we could go to you and you could approve this and we might not be able to recruit anybody. I don't know. And if that happens, we're really in a lurch. So I think it'll work. Letitia ran some numbers, thank you, yesterday that I got. And it's basically a list of all the defense attorneys that are on our wheel for appointments and how much they've made off the county in 1 year. And I think the highest one was about $79,000. And that's handling multiple courts and misdemeanors, and they're handling cases elsewhere. I think we'll be able to attract them. If we can't, I don't know what to do. Honestly, I don't know what to do after that. We're going to have to take another run at it.
Do you know how many cases that attorney handled at the 79,000?
I don't. I don't, but a lot. I can tell you they've handled a lot of first degrees in my court. But I wish I could tell you.
Judge, if I may, Commissioner, the complexity that's involved with your first and second degrees could chew up the same amount of time as 10 to 15 lower ones, and I believe that's a appropriate example. And so they do a smattering of them, but it is the demand of the first and second degrees that is really in jeopardy right now as far as us being able to provide that. Our lower offenses, we able to cover those pretty well. That first and second degree is really heavy right now, and not only with the amount of time that has to be put in, the context of the case is emotionally draining for people as well. And somebody that is continually day in and day out, they need a break every now and then.
Yeah, I've got 2 attorneys right now. How many we got first degree? We have 2 active attorneys handling first degree felonies, and they're swamped. And we had more than that, but prosecutors hired them. And again, they need them too. I'm not I am giving them a hard time because they stole, but we're fishing out of the same pond. And so we've got to do something. And I was just looking at the numbers on the spreadsheet that Letitia sent out yesterday, or that drafted. I think Anne Marie sent it. But I think for 1 year, is that September to October 22, we spent $745,000, or right at $746,000 on indigent defense between the courts at law and the 3 district courts. That includes appeals and everything, just criminal. 6 contract attorneys, and I'd have to do the math. What is that, $650,000?
$650.
About, I'm trying to figure out how the misdemeanors, about 110,000 of that 746 is misdemeanor. So this wouldn't include misdemeanor. So as far as money, I think you're kind of looking at about the same money. We're just going to be much more efficient at doing it, because if we can't get contract attorneys, we're going to have to raise our rates again. And that doesn't require Commissioners Court approval. The judges just said it. We've got to do something to be competitive with not only our own prosecutor's office, but everybody else. Jenny stole somebody from Dallas. I mean, so there's only so many lawyers. And you think, well, that's a good thing. There's not a whole bunch of lawyers. Well, that's really not a good thing when you start talking about criminal law. We need more lawyers. We just don't have them.
And I believe you'll notice in the coming months, we'll start hearing more and more across the state of the impact of this, because it is the state funding that came in, thank you, but it has a ripple effect. Cause and effect is going to take place for this. And
Would these contract attorneys be only for your court?
Yes, sir. No, but they could still do misdemeanors and be on the wheel. Kind of the way I foresee it is, Mondays and Wednesdays we handle, for example, 173rd cases. You're in my court on Mondays and Wednesdays. On Tuesdays and Thursdays we handle 392nd. So you 2 attorneys, I don't care what you do, but you got to be in my court. And that's the way they do it in other counties too. James Mills used to handle a lot of first-degree felonies in our county, a lot. And Smith County stole him with a contract. And he still comes over every now and then, but it's hit and miss because he's obligated to Smith County.
That's kind of what I was getting at there is,
Right.
if they were only for your court, would that be taking them away from one of our other courts too? So, but if they can do both, then.
Right. I think they can. And we're, as far as the judges, we're pretty good, and we still have some, and Jenny called me the other day. Like I said, we've done a lot of homework on this. We do have some issues we need to work out as far as cases come out of grand jury, if they've already been appointed an attorney. We've got to figure that piece out. I think I have a solution to it. But we're not stealing them from I don't care if we're stealing them from other counties. Quite frankly, I hope we do. But we're not going to be stealing them from other courts. And we do a good job of making sure we don't have court at the same time. Every now and then, Judge Calhoun and I will have court at the same time, but we're right across the hall.
And again, this is a tool for us to use. May have 1, may have 2, may have 6. It is an additional process that we can do to ensure that we meet our constitutional requirements.
Can they decline? All my questions have been asked, but can they decline a case?
Well, any attorney under the professional rules our own professional rules for attorneys can decline a case, but it's rare. I mean,
I'm saying underneath this contract, could they say, no, I don't want to take that case?
I mean, they could. I don't foresee a lot of that. And the only reason it could is if, say, hey, there's a conflict, or, I might not be legally conflicted, but I coached that kid, in softball or something. I really would rather not. And then, okay, we'll appoint it to another attorney. And we do stuff like that now. And we do that as judges. There are cases that I recuse myself off of that I might not be legally required, but it's just something that I'd feel better doing. Any other questions? Court?
Will they make any more money, say, on an appeal, or if they're a contracted attorney, or they have to do the job until the case is closed?
They won't do appeals. We have a separate list for appeals. Appellate work is more specialized. And if you look, well, I don't think you sent that out. Really, we haven't spent a whole lot of money on appeals. Kevin mentioned that earlier. I don't think we spent any in the 392nd. That's all been in the 173rd, which I handle as well, but there's not a whole lot of it. So that's really a small piece of the indigent defense budget.
Do we want to set a number up to 6 or?
As I said, we have the break of the budget, overall budget. 6 is
660 would give you 6 attorneys. I did
Yeah.
the math wrong.
6 is what I would have in my head as what we do, because that runs out the end of our budget. But will we have 6? You know, and that's what I say. You
up
can
to
do
6,
up to
I mean.
6.
And
But what's before us is approving the contract in form, and if you would like to add that into the motion.
And Judge Calhoun has not, he's been on vacation. We talked a little bit. He's been in a couple of the meetings. I don't know where he's going to stand on whether he wants 2 contract attorneys. That would, and if there were 4 in my 2 courts and 2 in his, that would be at 110 times 6, I guess that's 660. But I don't know where he stands on that yet. We'll just have to see. I think he comes back from vacation today.
Okay.
And so that's the easiest thing, because then we don't have the issue that Jenny had brought up where, say, somebody's appointed an attorney in jail. How do you make sure that attorney ends up as the contract attorney in my court, because it's random the way they're assigned to the court. So, but we'll figure that piece out. And there's also, as far as timing, the plan is due by November 1. According to the administrative code, you have to post what's called a notice of application, an NOA, and that NOA goes out to the entire bar, or a means that would reasonably cover all the attorneys in the local bar. And that has to remain open for 30 days, kind of like a bidding process. It has to remain open for 30 days. And so once we get all those, and the judges would sit down and approve it. So we're not asking you to approve which attorneys are on it. We're just asking you to approve the contract, and then the judges decide, if we have that many applications, which ones are selected. So, I mean, this is, even if you approved it today, we still have to draft the NOA, send them out. You know, we're still talking, gosh, it's towards the end of the year.
Any further questions or comments from the court?
Is there anything we need to put on there for a minimum number of cases that you're handling?
It's in no, because I think, is that already in the contract? If it's not in the contract, it's in the plan.
It is in the contract, and
It
it
is-
said 200 cases.
There you go.
That's the maximum cases, isn't it?
Yes, that's the maximum.
But I didn't know you had somebody in there that maybe didn't have the 50 cases in their contract term, but that's all they had. Another one had 200, and they're getting the same pay.
No, it'd be the same. And the way that we appoint, it would be kind of like we do with the wheel now, is 1, 2, 3, 4. And we go by defendants, not cases, because
So you'll-
one defendant can have
Okay.
12 cases.
That is a part of that.
Cases though, or is it defendants?
It's defendants.
Okay.
It's defendants. And when I went through and defined what a case was, or maybe what a defendant was, I put it in there.
And we know one defendant could last 2 years on a trial, and another one 6
I
months.
hope they don't last 2 years. We don't have any in our court.
It'll be ongoing before it comes to trial.
It could. I mean, you do have those outliers that every now and then, you know. Generally speaking, you have them resolved in about a year.
We even see that on the billing, sometimes a case it's 2 years old, it's
Right.
coming through on the bill, it hadn't been billed until it's final.
You'll see that in CPS cases a lot as well, because they tend to go forever.
And see, our current issue is availability of counsel. And what a contract would ensure is that we are able to provide that representation and follow and meet all the guidelines that are either laid out through statute or court rulings in the past, so that we are on point. And as it goes, yes, it'll be a slow build of cases. And it is a good point. What if you are paying $100,000 for a 50 case, for a 50 case load? That's a good point. But the actual objective here is to ensure that we have that representation in the courtroom. Because right now, we're having a hard time meeting that requirement.
And Smith County's been doing this. I know Van Zandt County started a few years ago. Smith County's been doing this, I mean, forever, since before 2008 that I know of, probably since 2005. And so they're felony courts, and it seems to work well for them.
We all know when we start something new, you gotta fine tune it. Get
Right,
going.
yeah. I'm sure, and you know, I've tried to include everybody on emails. They're probably tired of getting my emails, but I really want everybody's input because I'm going to miss something. I mean, somebody's going to think of something. So it's been a team effort. We're all included on it.
Court, questions, comments? Judge, thank you for all your work.
Thank y'all.
Kevin and everybody involved, DA, county attorney. It has been, as you said, a team effort trying to come up with something. Well, court, as you said, we've got this laid in front of us. If we can approve the contract in form with giving the county judge's authorization to sign, and Commissioner, if you'd like to add that restriction up to, that is completely acceptable as well. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the contract in form with the judge's signature.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam. Which one of you hit first?
Yeah, man.
Commissioner Richardson, second, to approve the contract as presented with the county judge's authorization to sign. Any further discussion?
Are we adding up to 6?
He did
No,
not.
I didn't.
He did not.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Item passes unanimously. Thank you, Judge. Thank you. Item 3, consider and take action on a resolution approving the application for the Indigent Defense Grant Program. Ms. Brown.
Good morning, Court. Today I have the resolution for the fiscal year 2024 application for our Indigent Defense Grant Program. Just a reminder, this program is, every county is eligible to receive a grant of $15,000 plus its share of any remaining funds that are budgeted by the commission for this particular grant program. I was able in the past to find a calculation, but it's just 50% of the county's state population, 50% of the county's percent of statewide direct indigent defense expenditures, less discretionary funds, and less reimbursed costs of operating a regional program. So basically, once that's calculated, our award is determined. I did put in the correspondence, our previous awards from 23 down to fiscal year 2022, and we can see somewhat of an increase through 18, and then slowly we're beginning to see a decrease in those fundings. That's all I have, sorry.
Court, questions, comments? So in 2023, we received a little over $60,000.
Yes, sir.
You add all the years together and it won't cover 1 year, will it?
No, sir, it will not. It will not. But it is something that, and I have in the last year, just to speak honestly, I've become a convert. You know, when I think it was SB 7, SB 2, 7 that passed in 2001 or 2. We took great offense of it when I was commissioner because of how it did drive up our expenses here. But when you look at the bail reform and all of that has happened with all the appointments, it really is an important function that we have in getting representation appointed. We lost, last year, our largest bail bonds organization, and our population never flinched in the jail. And there's a lot of factors that go into that, but I believe that getting people timely representation, though we've got money going out this way, it helps us on the backside. And I have to take this moment to this because I used to, y'all know this, I used to raise a lot of cane about the indigent defense attorneys, but it is sorely needed. And a little bit's better than nothing in this grant process.
The resolution will require your authorization for signature.
Okay. Court, any other questions, comments? We entertain a motion on the resolution.
I'd like to make the motion on the resolution approving the application for the Indigent Defense Grant Program with the judge's authorization to sign.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey and seconded by Commissioner Tooley to approve the resolution of the Indigent Defense Grant Program with the county judge's authorization signed. Any further comments? All those in favor? Item passes unanimously. Item number 4, consider and take action to accept the award for the fiscal year 2023 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant funding. Ms. Brown?
Yes, this is an award for our Bulletproof Vest. We were awarded $30,647.50, which is half of what we applied for because it is a 50% funding. We currently are up to date on our vests. They do have a 5-year warranty period that we do have to have vests resized, and once they go out of warranty. We have 42 of those that are going out in 2025 between Constable Fire Marshal's office and the largest number being in the Sheriff's office. Having the funding over a 2-year period and having them up to date will allow us to purchase part of them at a time. Since it is a 50% reimbursement, we won't have to purchase all 42 at once.
Okay. Court, questions, comments? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
So moved to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, seconded by Commissioner McCann to approve the acceptance of the award of the fiscal year 2023 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant Fund. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes unanimously.
Thank you. Court.
Item number 5 is consider and take action on expense up to $6,100 from the vending machine fund to purchase employee Christmas gifts in lieu of a party this year. Ms. Monk?
Yes, but we've used the vending machine money for years now, originally to provide a Christmas party for the employees, but since that left so many employees out a few years ago, the court chose to just let them give an annual gift with those funds. And a small group of us this year have come up with the idea of getting the little mini Bluetooth speakers. It'll have the county logo on it. We'll order 450 of them. It'll cost us just under $6,000, or just at $6,000.
Court, questions?
Well, this vending machine money is mostly money spent by county employees anyway, to put money in the vending machine to get a drink or candy or whatever it is out of it.
And this is in line with what we've been doing for the last 3 years, I believe.
There's about $17,000 in funds.
Yeah. Questions, comments, court? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey and seconded by Commissioner Richardson to approve the expense up to $6,100 from the vending machine fund to purchase employee Christmas gifts in lieu of a party. All those in favor of the motion? Passes unanimously. Item number 6, consider and take action to reject all bids received for the October 2nd, 2023 bid opening for the Civic/Senior Center related to ARPA State Local Fiscal Recovery Funds projects. Ms. Brown, just for reference, court, you will remember, we had put out plans and for bids on the construction. We received those in October 2nd. Ms. Brown and the committee met with the architect, week ago, 2 weeks ago,
Last week, I
On the
believe.
4th.
on the 4th. And we had one bid, I think, that came in.
Correct.
Is that correct? And it was,
million over.
it-
$1.2 million over what we have to spend on the building, so.
so, given that we're at a point where we have to take action on those bid proposals, and in this instance, given the, what is it, about 40% more than what thought it would be? 35, 40?
Yeah.
So there's no way we can fund that, so we have to reject this bid, or need to reject this bid and begin the process over. Now, I believe the architect is working on some alternative drawings.
Yes, that's correct. He sent an email stating that it will be the earlier part of November before he'll be able to get that information to us. But once the new drawings are provided to us, we will be able to go through the process to go back out for bid. Of course, once the drawings are reviewed and approved, to go back out.
Questions, comments?
And I think that's one of the main reasons we only got one bid is the way the plan was designed on the building, on the construction of it and stuff. There were some engineering problems in there that couldn't be done, and I think this other bidder just kind of threw a number at it. And so we've had to do some redesigning on how the building's going to be built, support the structure.
Commissioners, questions? Well, hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to reject all bids received for the October 2nd, 2023 bid opening for the Senior Citizen Center, Civic Center related to ARPA state and local fiscal recovery fund projects.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Richardson to reject all bids received for the October 2nd, 2023 bid opening for the Civic Center related to ARPA Civic Senior Center, related to the ARPA State Local Recovery Fund projects. Any further comments or discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Brown.
you.
Item number 7 is consider and take action on a request to assist the Mankin Cemetery with road repairs and accept the donation of $14,262 for material costs located in Precinct 1. Commissioner Spivey?
Yes, Court, I received a call a couple of weeks ago from the Macon Cemetery president wanting some assistance with our labor and equipment use to repave their road inside the cemetery. And they agreed to pay for the materials. My foreman went out there to see how much it would take, and we come up with this number. And it's oil sand, and I have their minutes asking for the request, and a letter asking, and a check for the donation to deposit.
Court, questions?
They are a historical cemetery, and they have a governing board.
Court, questions, comments?
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to assist Macon Cemetery with road repairs and accept a donation of $14,262 for the material costs located in Precinct 1.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey and seconded by Commissioner Tooley to approve the request to assist the Mankin Cemetery with road repairs and accept the donation of $14,262 for material costs, all located in Precinct 1. All those in favor of the motion? Passes unanimously.
Thank you, Court.
Thank you. Now, item number 8 was scheduled for a public hearing at 9:15, and at this time we will move into that hearing. I remind anyone that wishes to speak that you have 3 minutes, and we ask that you give your name and address for the record as speaking. But I do want to add that late in the process, there was some discrepancies in the property description, and after this public hearing, we have a line item to take action, and I'm going to ask that the court that we do not take action, but we do have a public hearing on this, and to allow for those that wish to speak on it to do so. And once we go through this, the process would be to start over because that property description is incorrect. So at this time, court, if we can, have a motion to move into public hearing at 9:41.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Richardson to move into public hearing at 9:41. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. We do now stand in public hearing for anyone wishing to speak to the designation of the Sloan Energy Storage, Tanzanite Energy Storage, BT McGee Solar Reinvestment Zones per Texas Tax Code Chapter 312, located in precincts 2 and 3. This is an opportunity to speak if anyone wishes to that designation. Last call. We have, since no one has chosen to speak, can we have a motion to close public hearing at 9:42?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam and second by Commissioner Richardson to close public hearing at 9:42. All those in favor? Item passes unanimously. Item 9, as I said, was consider and take action regarding application for designation of the Sloan Energy Storage, Tanzanite Energy, BT McGee Solar Reinvestment Zones per Texas Tax Code Chapter 312, located in 2 and 3. And as I stated earlier, at this time, I ask the court that we take no action on this due to the issues with the property description. Be happy to answer any questions.
Which property was it?
Really, there were questions about all three.
Oh, okay.
The McGee one was the full 300 acres, which we know that was cut down to 30 acres. Tanzanite, 12 and a half acres, but there's an issue, there was confusion about how much is being used. Over at the Sloan, there's some coordination issues going on with other entities as far as other projects. And one of the reasons that, for the public's edification, one of the reasons why we're such a stickler of this is that because when we designate these reinvestment zones, that's for the property. And knowing exactly what's going to go into that property, because you can do a large one for a certain type of business, and you are setting the ground rules. If a completely different type of business wants to come in and inside that investment zone, and there are many, one business doesn't need the exact same type specifics to the zone. And that's why we historically have been very specific on our reinvestment zones. And this one was too open-ended. And we did not catch it as we should, and I'll take that upon myself. We received the description, and it was a week after we posted it in the paper that I caught it. So. Any discussion? Well, given that there is no action to take, and I appreciate that, we'll move to item 10, which is receive financial reports, of which we have none. Item 11 is consider and take action on payroll distributions and accounts cash sheets. Mr. Bynum.
Yes, sir, I just have the payroll disbursement totals for biweekly number 21, and so I can get court approval on please, sir.
Court, questions, comments concerning the payroll disbursements? Entertain the motion.
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey and seconded by Commissioner Richardson to approve the payroll disbursement totals for biweekly 21 as presented. All those in favor? Passes unanimously.
Thank you, court.
Thank you. Item 13, consider and take action on the request for right-of-way permits. Oh, excuse me, I did skip contracts. Thank you. Item number 12, consider and take action on submitted contracts. And Court, we do have a couple here that are not in the backup, but I'll start with the 5-star. The sheriff is requesting that we extend our 5-star contract. Sheriff?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Court. Thank you. 5-star food service basically is the service that we use currently for preparing inmate meals inside the jail. And this is the last time that we could extend this one more year. So next year we would have to go out to bid, but they've been a great company to work with. They do an outstanding job. We do have issues come up from time to time, but they're quick to correct those issues. And I'm asking the court to extend this one more year. I think we've been doing business with them since early 2000, maybe 2002-ish time frame. And I'd like to extend it this year, and then we'll have to go out to bid next year.
And this is for the same terms, it's just an extension.
Yes, sir. Actually, they did send us a letter. Ever so often, they have an option to raise their prices, and they've done that, but we've already been paying the new prices. This is just to extend this one more year.
Okay. Court, questions? Entertain a motion.
Your signature or the sheriff?
Actually, if the court approves this, then I will send out a letter to 5-star saying that the court approved it. And so really there's no signature. I'll just have to send them a letter basically saying that we wish to use our extension.
Okay.
So moved to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley and second by Commissioner McCam to approve the extension of the 5-star food service contract with Henderson County. All those in favor of the motion? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Court. Thank you, Sheriff. Court, the other item, and of course we got this in email. We received a non-renewal notice for our animal shelter services. This was sent to the court at the end of September. Wanted to give the court the opportunity to discuss because with the non-renewal, we need to go out for bids to see if we can get someone in. Had discussions with the city of Athens about this since they are our partners in the facilities. So just wanted to make the notification to the court, which you all got the emails on, but also to the community as we move forward in this. Anybody wants to run a shelter, we need to know. We'll be putting something out soon, and we'll need to reply back to the contractor that we have at this time, saying thank you very much, and we'll keep moving. So that's all we had under that contract. Now, item 13, consider and take action on requests for right-of-way permits. Okay. Commissioner?
Yes, Court, the first one is with Spectrum. They're wanting to lay an underground conduit with fiber in it, coming from 1615 on County Road 4628 for a 785-foot on there. And actually, they've had a previous permit that we had approved earlier, and I think they had just noted down for overhead in that area, and they're not able to put it overhead, so they're changing it to underground.
Okay. Questions for the commissioner? Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve utility line activity for Spectrum to place underground fiber within the right-of-way of County Road 4628 for 785 foot from FM 1615 with Commissioner's authorization to sign.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, seconded by Commissioner McCam to approve the right-of-way agreement with Spectrum for the installation of a conduit and fiber optics from County Road 4628 with the Commissioner's authorization to sign. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Commissioner?
This next one is with Charter Spectrum. They're wanting to install around 18,000 and 25 foot of aerial fiber optic and 891 foot of underground conduits and 5 vaults within the Henderson County right-of-ways. Those roads consist of County Road 4319, 4320, 4309, 4303, 4317, 4307, 4305, 4304, and 4308.
Questions for the commissioner? Entertain a motion.
Are they boring underneath any of these?
No, sir. Don't show any bores.
On, page 8,
Page 8. Of the first one or second one?
the second one, I guess. 4319.
On page 8, sheet 7. $43.19 in the red.
I think you just had, that's it right there, Judge.
Your question, Commissioner?
Yeah, are they pouring underneath 4319?
Says aerial on it.
That red says underground.
I don't know, they didn't list it in their description as doing any bores, but it shows on their plan is red under that road right there in that section.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
And actually, all this is actually within the city limits of Moore Station, but
Okay. Any other questions of the commissioner? Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion for Charter Spectrum to install aerial and underground fiber with 1 supply pole and 5 vaults within the right-of-way of County Roads 4303, 4304, 4305, 4307, 4308, 4309, 4319, and 4320 with Commissioner's authorization to sign.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Spivey, to approve the right-of-way agreement with Charter Spectrum for the aforementioned roads and structures to be installed along the county right-of-ways with Commissioner's authorization to sign. All those in favor? Opposed? Passes 4-1. Item 14, consider and take action on submitted budget amendments. We have none. Item 15, consider and take action on payment of bills. Ms. Carpenter.
Yes, sir. For fiscal year 2023, in the amount of $418,480.78.
Commissioner Spivey, questions?
I have no questions, Judge.
Commissioner Tooley?
I have none.
Commissioner McCann?
I have none.
Commissioner Richardson?
No questions, Judge.
Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2023 bills in the amount of $418,480.78 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the bills in the amount of $418,480.78. All those in favor of the motion? Passes unanimously. Item 16, consider and take action on submitted plats.
I left my briefcase at home. This plat is in the Cedar Branch Park subdivision, and I believe, speaking with Joy, at the back of these lots, you can see where by that iron rod that was found. You'll see the original lot line. I believe there's a storage building or something that is permanently fixed, and that's all they're asking to do is take the new solid black line to the new property line. Everything else is staying the same. And both property owners have filled out an application for a replat and are in agreements, as well as the POA.
Questions for the commissioner? Entertain a motion.
Hearing none, Judge, I move we approve the final replat of Cedar Branch Park, Section 2, lots 125 and 126, Block 1, to lots 125R and 126R for filing purposes only.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley and second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the final replat for Cedar Branch Park, Section 2, creating lots 125R and 126R for filing purposes only. All those in favor of the motion? Passes unanimously. Item 17, open and consider bids, which we have none. And item 18 is consider and take action to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Tooley and second by Commissioner Richardson to adjourn at 9:57 a.m. Remind everyone we do have a workshop following this meeting. Any further comments? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you for being with us.